Did Americans really land on the moon? According to a survey, 20% of Americans doubt that humans have ever set foot on the moon and believe it was just a government-staged conspiracy. To date, most people firmly believe that the US has surpassed the Soviet Union in the race to conquer the moon. Neil Armstrong, the American astronaut, was the first person to set foot on the moon. Stepping off the ship, he uttered the famous words that moved the entire world. "This is one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind." Everything is perfectly clear. Lately, as tech billionaires rush to invest in the space industry, the conquest of the moon has once again become the center of attention. This issue is being discussed again. A recent survey revealed that even in the US, 20% of respondents do not believe humans have ever set foot on the moon. 20% is a significant figure. These people believe that neither Armstrong nor anyone else actually set foot on the moon. That's just a trivial matter not worth worrying about. Indeed, when analyzing the events in the moon program, you will uncover issues that are difficult to explain satisfactorily within the scope of conventional hypotheses about the moon landing. Since 1970, the book by author Jay Graney has been published in the United States. Did humans really set foot on the moon or not? In 1976, American writer Bill Kaysing also published a book titled, "Humans Have Never Set Foot on the Moon." Later, in many different countries around the world, analyses of this issue are increasingly emerging with solid arguments that are hard to refute. Skeptics of the official claims regarding the success of the US moon program. Some key points raised include, when the astronauts planted the flag on the moon, it fluttered vividly in the air. Clearly, the wind is blowing very hard, which makes absolutely no sense. Everyone knows that the moon has no atmosphere at all. Where does the wind come from? Moreover, in two photographs of the same flag released by NASA, its shadow is cast on the left panel, while the other one lies on the right. 2. The hot exhaust from the jet engine must be expelled with strong force during landing. Of course, it would send up a funnel of dust right where the ship came down. However, in the photos released by NASA, this phenomenon does not appear at all. The surface of the moon remains flat, with no depressions at all. 3. In a gravitational environment like that on Earth, the astronaut and their flight suit have a combined weight of up to 160 kilograms. According to calculations, your weight on the moon would be only 27 kilos. Why can't astronauts jump as high as normal? Earth's gravitational force is less than 1/5 of Earth. The jump in the video is less than 45 centimeters high, exactly like when jumping on normal ground. Why is that? 4. In photos of the moon, the light is often unevenly distributed. This type of light has the characteristics of artificial projection lighting, not natural light. Some other factors are also considered indirect influences. For example, the US claimed to have used the massive Saturn V rocket to launch the Apollo spacecraft into space. It wasn't until 20 years later that the Soviet Union successfully developed the famous Energia rocket. They share similar shipping features. Could it be that the Soviet Union, which was leading in missile technology compared to its rival, suddenly fell behind by a full 20 years? Moreover, after completing the lunar exploration program, why was NASA's Saturn V rocket used only once to launch the Skylab space station in 1973? If that special missile from the US really exists, why were they in such a hurry to stop producing them? And the 3 that were manufactured must immediately be placed in the museum for preservation. Another surprising thing is why they used such a bulky and heavy moon rover. Earth's gravity is much weaker than Earth. Always remember that when sending an object into space, every gram must be carefully calculated. Because each additional kilogram means having to spend a massive amount of extra money. Generally, there are many questionable aspects about the US moon program, with ample grounds for skepticism. Some people believe that Americans never set foot on the moon. Some people believe that their first moon landing was staged. Later, they also succeeded in landing on the moon at a later time. The third type of opinion holds that, although America's moon program is celebrated as a great achievement, but completely unworthy, every scene was shot right here on Earth. The newspaper Komsomolskaya Pravda interviewed the renowned writer Andrei Bachev on this issue, and he shared, "I once participated in a debate about America's moon landing mission. Doubts about Americans landing on the moon did not originate from the former Soviet Union. At that time, people relied solely on a spirit of adventure and far-fetched ideas, while the scientific capabilities of this program were still very limited. We will not join the race to the moon, because it's a meaningless endeavor. In the history of the Soviet space program, there were instances where malfunctions occurred simply due to a momentary loss of communication between ground control and the spacecraft. The spacecraft veered off its intended orbit, causing the mission to fail completely, drifting unpredictably like the waxing and waning moon. Faced with overwhelming evidence in the debate about the US moon program, NASA was forced to publicly acknowledge that. To simulate the Apollo spacecraft landing on the moon, they had to use footage and images from the flight that were not real. Some images posted on media outlets are actually just photos taken during training sessions. They presented this photo because it looks exactly like the actual scene on the moon. Then, they discussed how the video clips and images had been manipulated. They haven't explained the remaining issues nor have they apologized. Some related incidents were gradually revealed. For example, documents about the Apollo program's landing were lost. The story of the moon rocks collected by astronauts and later gifted to museums in Europe is also worth mentioning. According to the information, NASA also explained that this was simply a case of confusion with a rock on Earth, not an intentional act. What do you think about this hypothesis? Do you believe it's true?